Hey fam, Skye here, the Limitless Nutritionist and Challenge Queen from Limitless Health Go. I'm bringing you another amazing video today. This one is on, I had to just glance, I'm like, what am I talking about? I can't even remember. How to create next level content. Isn't that interesting? I'm about to talk about content. I'm like, what am I doing? Where is it coming from? Who even knows? Crazy lady right here. So look, first thing that I want to say is obviously if you're watching this over on my YouTube channel, please hit the subscribe button so that you can stay up to date with any of the other videos that we're putting out, which is quite a lot at the moment, and these amazing next level, short, helpful, hell yes, video tips. So today we're talking about how to create next level fuck yes content, all right? And I want to start with a bit of a story, to be honest with you. And look, my partner actually jokes. He says my favorite subject is me. It's not. It's just that sometimes if I tell you a story about me first, then it helps you to position this in your mind as well. So I'm going to start with a bit of a story about me. And it's actually me getting in trouble, if that makes you feel better. So look, a little while ago, I have a few programs. I have my Beast Mode Business Bootcamp, and I have a next level continuation of that, which is for, next level individuals who want to talk strategy, who want to talk soul, who want to up level their business and their lives, in all the most amazing ways. Combining those two things, I believe that, in business, we need those in equal amounts, strategy and soul. If we go far too woo-woo off into the fucking ether, and off into the universe and stuff like that, generally what can happen is we end up getting, walked all over, or, we don't end up pricing things, or we're just a bit fluffy about it all, and it's all in the vision and there's no actual fucking action, right? If we're all in the strategy, then we just become dirty used car salesmen, always trying to push, ourselves, always trying to manipulate the next deal, all strategy, all, front brain, whatever. We're not sitting in ourselves and in our heart. And the thing is that people buy people. You guys will hear me say that in so many videos, I'm sure. And so it's really important that as fitness professionals, as coaches, as, health professionals, whatever paradigm you're in, that we are actually showing up in both of those realms, strategy and soul. All right, because we need them in equal amounts so that, we can turn up with a bit of strategy, as in, how can I get myself in front of my ideal tribe and audience? How can I share more and make more offers, to draw people in? But as well as how can I do that from a place of soul, of heart, of servitude, of wanting to make impact in people's lives? And how can I connect those two things? All right, that's where I'm going to start. My story though. Now, my story is that, I have that next level container. It is a 1-year program, mentoring, mentoring with me, whether that's in business, whether that's in life, whether that's in mindset, whether that's in, galactic next level shit, whatever, right? Anyway, in that container, I actually, I taught a webinar, one particular week, and I taught that webinar on how to create basically next level content. But I taught it on the strategy side, all right? And what I mean by that is look, and I'll give you the strategy. I'll give you the strategy right now. Are you ready? So the strategy side of it is there are amazing formulas out there, right? And you may have heard this before, because I know that there are a lot of, business coaches and mentors out there, peddling this stuff because it's a formula and this is just the magic formula to XYZ, right? And so anyway, the formula basically says, that, pick a subject, all right? So let's say health, alrighty? Now what you do, it's called the 3x3 rule, all right? So it's like, all right, name 3 things that are important about health, all right? Well, fitness, nutrition, and mindset. Cool, no worries. Now name 3 things. And I actually don't mean to mock it. I'm using a mocking tone, right? But because it can work, all right? So if you're at the stage where you're utilizing, the 3x3 rule, or you're like, oh my God, this 3x3 rule is fucking amazing. This is going to give me heaps of juicy content. Go right ahead. Absolutely use it, all right? It is a strategy. It is out there. It is strategic in its own right. And it will give you a web of content. So we go, all right, give me a topic, health. What are 3 things about health? Well, fitness, nutrition, and what did I say? Mindset. You could even do lifestyle, right? There's a 4th thing. I gave you a bonus right there. And then you go, all right, what are 3 things about fitness that are like the most important? Well, fitness would be, time and type of exercise, or, how much exercise we're doing through the week, or, exercising for your goal. There's 3 more things, right? Then we could talk about, oh my gosh, exercising for your goal, right? So, okay, exercising for your goal. What are 3 things in relation to exercising for your goal that is the most important? All right. So you can see how you keep, breaking down, each of those things like 1 by 1 or 3 by 3 really, to give you like this entire web of content, or at least content like topics and or subjects. All right. Because then you would go nutrition, which was one of the other ones, right? So we've got health, and then we've got nutrition. What are 3 things about nutrition? Well, like eating a balanced diet, having a rainbow, eating 5 meals a day or something like that. Cool. What's something about eating 5 meals a day? Macronutrients, micronutrients, breaking things, like it can be, never ending, which is awesome. So then when you have this giant web, you can pick the pieces that you want, from it. All right. So that was the pretense, of the webinar that I taught. I taught the strategic formula for being able to create like an excess of content topics. All right. Because obviously the content doesn't then just magically create itself. It's just if you're having, creative amnesia and you're like, what can I talk about? What am I going to, make a video on? What am I going to write a blog on? What post am I putting up today? And you can have a bit of a glance and you let, whatever jumps out at you, jump out at you. Or you can sit down and do a big batch of it one day and write, post after post after post after post, or whatever it is, make a video and then get it out there, do a batch of them. So then you can put them out over a period of time. Does that make sense, everyone? There's the strategy. All right. Now, as I said, the story in it is that I taught that particular webinar, and then it just kind of wasn't sitting right with me. And I taught it at a time where I was having my own sort of identity journey and, wanting to lean in and be a bit more, this and crazy and galactic, universal, whatever, and really marrying these ideas of strategy and soul, which I already knew that I do and that I embody and that was already there for me. But I thought, I got in my front brain, my fucking logic brain, like screw that guy, right? Doesn't run the show normally, but decided, logic brain for a second, let's teach the 3 by 3 rule. And then I spoke to one of my own mentors, because look, I'm a mentor, and I believe that at every level of business of life, we should have people on our side, whether it be a life coach or a mentor or, like a therapist if you need one, go for it, no harm in that. And the same, business coach, depending on if you're in, health, nutrition, fitness, whatever, business you're in, right? It's super important. So I went to my mentor and we were having this conversation about alignment. Another video I'll make, you guys. We're having this conversation about alignment. And I was just like, this is feeling stuck and whatever. And she's like, well, Skye, that's because, you're basically bullshitting. And I was like, excuse me? And she's like, you're bullshitting. And I was like, what do you mean? And she's like, well, you're literally hiding a part of yourself, number 1, the kind of woo-woo side of me, right? And she's like, and number 2, you just taught them the strategy side, how to create content. And the thing is, you don't create content like that, do you? And I went, no, that's not how I create content, not at all. And she's like, how do you create content? Right? And I was like, yeah, fuck. And off the back of that, I actually taught another webinar. And it was totally different because it was actually, more aligned, right? Because it was how I create, next level content in my own business. And so I want to share that with you as well. And remember, look, you can do strategy, you can do soul, or you could do both. That's okay. But I want to give you, how I choose to create next level content. All right. And you can just see how that sits with you. So for me, the way that I create, next level content is, to be honest with you, and I just cringed for a second. Isn't that funny? It's the judgment. It's the fear of judgment. Look, I actually create it by being in a state of flow. All right. By being aligned with, who it is that I am as a person, what it is that I represent, who my soul tribe is, what they're, what's going on for them in their life. And then I just kind of feel into it, or I'll go for a walk and I'll allow allow whatever thought to drop into my head that drops in my head, and I'll just play with it for a while. I never stifle it. It's really important that when we're sort of like allowing things, thoughts or, channeling, flow and information to just kind of, information dump into our brain, it is so, so, so important that we do not stifle it by judging it, or stifle it by going, oh, I don't know that they'll like that. Maybe I'll come back to that later. Or even sometimes, and you guys might do this as well, because I know some of my clients say this, and I'll pull them up on it, right, when they're telling me that they're doing this, and they'll be like, oh, sometimes I think of something and then I go and write it down. And then I come back to it later to elaborate on it, or to, make it a post or something. And then either I can't really remember what I was talking about or thinking about, or it's really not resonating in the same, way anymore. All right. And so what we want to do is that, look, and I know that time doesn't always allow it. So what we need to do is create time and space for the information to drop in, for flow to happen, for, allowing. All right. And I understand that, look, that isn't the strategic answer. I gave you the strategic one. If you want to do the 3x3 rule, cool, no worries, that works. But sometimes when you're sitting there just staring at the fucking topics, and you're going, like, what do I actually want to write about nutrition? And then when you're trying to force it, it ends up feeling jagged. It ends up feeling forced, right? Like, like we're going, and it just doesn't quite work. And then when we put that out into the, the social media universe, it sometimes just doesn't land with our tribes, all right? Because maybe we haven't put the soul in it. All right. And one of the other things that I like to, lean into or look at is that often, when let's go with the words, things come to me, right? Like when something comes to me, I might be in conversation with a client or something like that, and I'll give them this, like, what I think is a really awesome explanation for something, because something is coming up for them, and the coach in me is like, oh my gosh, like, here, let me talk to you about that for a second. And then I see what I've written and I go, and there is a post. And I will take that information and I will elaborate on it, and I'll build from it, and I'll allow flow and energy into it. And I trust is the other thing that I do. I trust that it is if it is coming up for one person, it is coming up for many. All right. So, the fact that I'm sitting here today talking to you guys about how to create next level content, and I'm giving you both the strategy and the soul side of it, and telling you this is actually how I create content. I allow, I flow, I align, I create space, I let things drop in. And if the inspiration hits me, I do not stifle it. I go with it. There have been plenty of times where, like we're coming back from a puppy walk or something like that, and something was, had struck me, and I sit there in the car, we pull up into the garage, and I'm like, sorry, to Michael, my partner, I'd be like, sorry, I just need to sit here for another minute. And he's like, that's okay, wanders off, and I'm like, well, typing these things in, getting the post out of me and allowing it to be there in its full form. All right. And there's so much, power and energy in that. And it's often when I do that from a place of allowing, from a place of, energetic flow, and from a place of trust, that if it is coming out of me, if it is a thought in my mind, or if it's coming up for another human, I always say, the universe likes to piggyback lessons. So if I'm hearing something, bam, I obviously need to talk about it. I need to go out there into the universe or onto social media and, speak about it, make a post about it. I did a post a while ago on not enoughism, because at that time, some not enoughism was showing up for me. And I thought, gosh, if it's showing up for me, I know it's showing up for you guys as well. And so it was worth me putting that post out there to share of myself, right? To tell the story of how not enoughism was showing up for me, so that others could take that and see how it's showing up for themselves too. And that type of post, trust me, is going to land like 1,000,000 times more. Like, we are talking about next level content. We are not talking about just fucking putting shit out there and noise, because we know we should probably post something, right? It is actually posting of experience. It's posting of aha, of journey, of all those amazing things, of, of what's showing up, in people's universes, in the ether, and all the rest of it. That is how you create next level content. And as I said, I promise you guys that stuff is going to land 1,000,000 times more with your clients than any fabrication or, because you think you should be writing about these types of topics, or that's because, other trainers are writing about it or whatever. Look, man, like do what other trainers are doing and get the same shifty results, all right? And if you want to double down on, going next level with your clients, not, just staying on this safe surface level stuff, actually talking of your experience, which is probably a part of their own, then allow and trust and put yourself out there. Because I promise you, that stuff is what is going to land. That is next level content creation. All right? I think that's all I want to say to you guys today. So look, let me know how that's landed with you. How are you creating content right now? Have you ever tried the 3x3 rule? And look, I'm not shitting on it entirely, right? It's just not how I do content. Not anymore, not for a very long time. I'm not sure I ever quite, sat in that realm, but it is a formula, and it can spike ideas, which is good. That's fine, but at some point in time, you're still going to have to sit down with those headings and go, what do I want to write about, right? So we can still end up with creative amnesia. Whereas if we actually sit in ourselves and we come from a heart place and a soul space, and we say, what is actually showing up for our tribe right now? What is their experience of the world? How are they feeling? You know what? What's better? How am I feeling right now about the world? And what can I share of my own experience that is probably going to land with them? That is how you connect in deeply. That is how you create next level content. All right. Love you guys. Bye.